Welcome back to ATL Day Ones. I am Tenitra Batiste. That's my boy Jarvis Davis. And we appreciate you guys rocking with us as always. Because of you, we are almost to 2,000 subscribers on this Locked On Sports Atlanta network. So just continue subscribing. Tell a friend about us. Make sure you follow us. Make sure you like, and whatever place you go to check out podcasts on the audio side, make sure you give us a 5-star review. Why? Because we can bring people like Harry Douglas through, and you want to hear from the boy. He is hanging out with us. Listen, let me tell you, I can give him his kudos and his props for being an NFL star wide receiver with the Falcons as well as the Titans. I can give him his props for being an amazing ESPN college football analyst. I can give him his props for being Jonesboro High School's finest. I can even give him props for being one of 6 coaches who is a Bill Walsh fellow with the Atlanta Falcons. But you know what? I really want to give him props for being a supporter of Jarvis and I from day one. Jarvis and I, of course, started out, and we'll talk a little bit about this and get into it in a minute because we've got lots to talk about with Harry. But one of the most important things for us has been his support when we venture out into things like doing college football analysis ourselves. Nobody has stood up longest and hardest for us than Harry. So, Harry, our brother, our friend, our mentor, welcome to the show.
But thank y'all. I should have got on here a long time ago, but y'all know how crazy my schedule is.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is that I'm on here now. Y'all know how much I love y'all and will support y'all in everything that y'all do. And this is not gonna be my only time on here now. I want to come on even more.
You coming back now?
Because I love what y'all are doing. From day one, from going back to the days of us sitting in Mercedes Benz Stadium, talking through games, stuff that's going on through the Falcons games, and I just adore y'all, man. Y'all mean a lot to me.
Yes,
Appreciate you, my brother. Salute.
And listen, we had a chance to at least dap you up and get some love going on last week at the open practice for the Falcons. Yeah. And I got to see your mini me, adorable as she is. So it was really nice to put a name to a face to a name because, of course, we talked about it. I've heard so much about the beautiful Harrison. So good to meet her as well. But one thing we wanted to talk about, too, because it's so powerful when you see teams like the Falcons actually not just speak about it, Harry, but be about it. And that is really paying attention and kind of leaning into supporting diversity efforts for the league, like calling up and just really being supporters of that Bill Walsh program. So I want to take you back to that day. Tell us how that was for you to get that call to let you know that you were selected to be a fellow.
Well, I'll tell you, first I missed the call because I was on the airplane.
Of course.
Of course.
So I missed the airplane, the call because I was on the airplane. I was heading to Vegas to do the draft with ESPN.
Okay.
But, I had Wi-Fi on my phone. I started looking at my emails and text messages, and I was like, oh, no, I got it. I got the internship. And I'll tell you why it was so important to me. I was a player coach on the football field. And only up until so much as a player because you can't see the behind the scenes thing is that coaches and general managers and owners and team presidents and whatnot and everyone goes through. But being able to sit in there in staff meetings, offensive staff meetings, the entire coaching staff with the general manager, Terry Fontenot, those staff meetings, those things have been delightful for me to be able to understand how coaches how they think, what they go through, the decisions they have to make, and not just coaches, general managers as well in the organization, but sitting in offensive meetings like every day that I'm allowed to go up there because I'm only doing it when I'm not working because I am full-time with ESPN now. So if it's 4 days I'm not working, it's 4 days I'm at the complex. If it's 3, I'm up there 3 days. So do I have any time off? No, but it's a blessing to be able to sit in there with offensive coaches and understand how they game plan, understand what they're seeing defensively, understanding how they correlate plays, runs, and passes together. So that has been very eye-opening for me. And then you have so many people in there with so much experience, and you just want to learn and you want to gobble so much information up. And I'm in there writing notes every single chance that I get, asking questions. I even go to the defensive side, talk to Dean Pease, talk to his son, talk to the DB coach, Coach Hope, talk to those guys and see what they're thinking and what their mindset is on when they see certain splits, formations, and what the corner and the secondary is thinking, their checks. So that's been a blessing for me as well.
Yes.
Harry, the one thing that I've always admired about you, man, is just your work ethic, dog. Like like I fully understand why you able to accomplish what you've been able to accomplish so far, man. And I just want to just give you your props, bro, because a lot of times, sometimes guys get a little prideful and don't want to say the words out. They know it, they feel it, but they never say it out loud. So I just want to go ahead and say that. But man, I know a lot of times every year it seems like we're always talking about diversity and why they aren't able to get those black head coaches or offense coordinators aren't necessarily getting a job. Eric Bieniemy seems like he's been a quote unquote hot candidate every year. So how important for you to understand like how important it is for you to get these opportunities, because the league is 75% black. It should be some type of pathway to get to a head coach, like a hardcore pathway. Okay, if you go this route, you should be able to be a head coach one day if you so choose. How important is that to you personally, and how important do you think it is for some of your colleagues, to try to get into programs like these?
Well, first, I think it's very important, but the simple fact that when you get these opportunities, the first thing I want to point out is that you got to take them seriously. You can't just go up there, hey, I may know this person, so I'm going to jack around and do my thing. No, you got to put your all into it. I wake up at 4 a.m. every day. I wake up at 4 a.m. every single day so I can start to get my mind right, and I head to the complex. I leave my house about 5 a.m. to head to the complex. And not necessarily because I want to be the first person there or the second person there, but I want to get my mind right. And especially, like, say I missed the day before, I would go in there probably about 4:45 or 5 so I can get all the information that I missed the day before. So when I'm relaying information to the players, I know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's another thing. A lot of people got to understand when you want to do things like that, you have to do things differently. You can't show up at the time that everybody else is showing up, right? You got to get in there early. You got to reach the play, but you got to ask questions.
Yes.
Because when we're doing these internships, we don't have all the answers. And one of the things I would say I noticed, not with the Falcons, but throughout the NFL, is that people minorities, they have to stop wanting to just be a receiver coach or wanting to just be a DB coach, right? They got to branch out and enhance things. That's one of the things me and Arthur Smith talked about. He's like, Harry, listen, I want to get with you, and want you to get with coaches as well, so you can learn the ins and outs of the offensive line and what they're doing. At some point, go over to the defensive side of the ball to understand their calls and what's the reason for them making certain calls. And I thought that was huge for me, because Arthur Smith is a guy that started on the defensive side of the ball, and then he went over to the offensive side of the ball. So now as a play caller, he understands and has the mindset of a defensive play caller and what he's thinking, and that's why he had so much success being a play caller, because you've been on both sides. Don't limit yourself, right? Ask those questions, ask different coaches. I even had an opportunity to talk with Terry Fontenot one-on-one because at some point, his side of what he does and being a general manager and some of the scouts that I know, I want to piggyback off of them, and I want to pick their brain and be able to understand how they make certain decisions in certain areas or whatnot. But you said it. You said it in the beginning. I'm a person that loves to challenge myself in every way possible.
Yes.
I am thankful for everything that I have in my life, but I would never be satisfied.
Yes.
And I'm always trying to put myself in uncomfortable positions so it allowed me to grow as a person. And I tell a lot of people, is it tough right now being full-time at ESPN and doing an internship? It is. But it's the toughness that I wouldn't mind and I accept. Because if I couldn't do it, I wouldn't be doing it. I feel like I can handle it. And do I probably sleep 3 hours a night? Yes, but it's okay with me. As long as I'm grinding and getting it in, that's all that matters.
Yeah. And Harry, as I was listening to you talk, I was thinking so many things like, oh, where do I want to go next? But one of the things that came to mind as well, two people that were all three of us are familiar with, and that was Marquise Williams and him talking about some of that mentoring that really has gotten him to be who he is as a special teams coordinator because he understands the game holistically. But also, Rico Allen used to talk about that all the time, how he would ask to go into some of those offensive rooms, the running back room, the wide receiver room, the quarterback room, because ultimately he wants to be a coach and wanted to learn the other side of the ball as well. So I think for you, I have one more question for you on the Falcon side and on the fellow side, but I also want to get to your ESPN piece there as well. But from a fellow perspective, I wondered, how was it for you Friday? Because you've been a player, right? Oh, yeah. And you obviously are still an analyst, right? But you're going into that open practice for the first time as a fellow with a coach's mindset. So what was that like for you going into OTAs with that coach's mindset?
It was great. It was great. And to be able to talk to the young guys who haven't been able to play in a professional stadium yet, and especially as a professional, as they all are right now, that was good. And that's one of the things that I love about this organization, because I think doing things like that means a lot to the players and the coaches, especially young guys. And you never know what jitters you may be able to get out early within some young players by doing things like that, having fans in the building. And it's also great for the fans to be able to only have to pay $5 to be able to come in Mercedes Benz Stadium, be close up and watch players go through a practice and see some of the new faces that are on the team and that joined the organization this offseason and during the draft. I thought it was a great thing for the Falcons to be able to do. But being in there, and I didn't get a chance to play in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, but I am a person that played in the Georgia Dome, and I love the Falcons since I was a kid. I grew up watching this team. So to be able to play for this organization, not only play, but grow up watching them and them being my favorite team, but now to be able to go into those doors at Mercedes-Benz Stadium and be able to go in there and coach for the organization as well, it's something that I will always remember the rest of my life. And not only that, you mentioned my daughter and my son and my mom and dad, my wife, my nephew was able to come. Being able to have them there and see me in that setting as well. And my daughter and my son yelling for me on the side. I had to tell them to be quiet. Daddy coaching. After practice, Daddy will bring you on the field.
Right.
But it was a thing of beauty. And I would say this, the guys being able to practice in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, you've seen the intensity go up a lot more as well. You've seen a lot of young guys like, you know what, hey, I need to make these plays. They're fans and people out here looking at me. And this is their first time being able to see me live and in action. So you've seen a lot of those things go on that Friday practice.
Yeah, I think the atmosphere there was really cool, and you can even hear it in Kyle's Pitt's voice. He was talking about, yeah, man, it's good to have the fans out here because you know football players, get into a camp and practices and everything, and get into the monotony of it. It's good to kind of switch it up and get out into the stadium.
Yes, change of scenery. Sometimes you just need a change of scenery.
Right, exactly. You need that change of scenery, man. Lord knows it helps out a lot, man, as far as going through when you start getting to that grind. But Harry, you mentioned something earlier about going out to Las Vegas, so I know you were following the draft really, really closely, man. And I know there was a lot of conversations about Desmond Ridder when he was drafted to the Falcons, and there was a lot of conversations about Malik Willis coming out and him ending up with the Tennessee Titans. My question to you is, who do you think ends up having a quote unquote better season? Who do you think is going to be more productive this year? Desmond Ridder or Malik Willis?
So this is a tricky one because both of them have to do what they're supposed to do to even be the starters.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because, you have Marcus Mariota, who's right now the starter for the Atlanta Falcons. And I played with Marcus his first 3 years in the league, and he's been doing a tremendous job. And it's funny because I'm used to him wearing number 8, and he's wearing number 1 now. So his nickname, I call him, was Ocho. So now when he come in the meeting room, I'm like, Uno. He's looking at me. So we have a little joke about that. And even Cameron Batson, who we just brought over from, he was with the Tennessee Titans. I believe he was a free agent. He just signed with the Falcons too. He was like, man, I got to get used to calling him Uno now. I'm used to seeing him with number 8 on.
You're right.
But Dez has done a great job so far. I love his tone in the huddle. I love the command that he has. And then not only that, when he's with the rookies, they're at the hotel and stuff right now, staying and whatnot. But when they were at the apartments behind the complex, he would get those guys up and go through plays and go through things. When they're doing some community service events, he have them on the bus going through plays and whatnot. On this off time, they're going through stuff. But I think him and Marcus complement one another, each other very, very well. And I know Marcus is going to do everything to help Dez out. And I know Dez, if there's any way that he can help Marcus out, is going to do the same thing. But it's great when you're able to have friendly competition on your team. Two guys who I had the utmost respect for, Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ridder. But I am a firm believer of having your backup quarterback similar to your starting quarterback. So if someone goes down, and Lord behold, no one goes down. But if someone goes down, you don't have to change up your entire offense or tailor your offense towards a particular type of player. You can just plug them right in, and he can do the same things that Marcus did, or Marcus can do the same thing as Desmond did.
Yeah, and I'm coming for my ESPN question. I promise you, because I got questions. But as a former wide receiver in the NFL, I have to ask you, because you talked about competition, and Arthur Smith has mentioned that. And I love one thing that I really like and respect about him, Harry, is that he's consistent, and it's not just words. He shows it in his actions in terms of competition. He has said from day one, pretty much last season, no job is safe. There's a competition at every position. And I think you mentioned Cameron Batson, one of the newer additions, if you will, to the wide receiver room, again, showing that, hey, yes, we have, and I call it the extended wide receiver room when I talk about it. So just follow me on that one. But yeah, we've got that weapon in Kyle Pitts. And then we drafted a weapon in Drake London. And now we're adding weapons like Brian Edwards. That room is packed out. But I wanted to get your thoughts on that wide receiver room, and also how you think that wide receiver room could help out Mariota and Ridder, because Jarvis and I have been looking at different pundits saying that they think the Falcons, may end up with the 3rd pick next year, maybe the 5th, and they're all pointing to who's under center. But I think that wide receiver room may give some good opportunities for this Falcons offense in the fall.
I believe so. And one of the things I think that stands out mainly is the size of guys now. And I'll tell you what size does at the wide receiver position. It allows the quarterback, if he happens to be a tad bit off, to just still give the wide receivers a chance. You can throw it anywhere around their body, and guys being so bigger and you having smaller DBs, they can still go up and make the play and make the catch. But I'll start with a guy like Drake London. They drafted him 8th overall. And for a guy that's 6'4", the way he's able to sink his hips and get in and out of breaks, but not only that, his feel for the game. He just has a natural feel and a natural knack for the game of football on how to get open at the top of route. So I'm really looking forward to him, and then the will that he presents every day to get better and wants to learn and just be that guy. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. You look at Auden Tate, they brought him in, another big body guy. He's doing well. GA, who played at Green Bay at one point, with a guy like Aaron Rodgers. He's another guy with some size. He's been doing a tremendous job. Who else do we have? Brian Edwards, being able to trade for him, Las Vegas Raiders. And Brian Edwards, to me, when he was coming out of the draft, he was kind of my diamond in the rough. He's a guy that I thought that was going to be able to have a nice career in the National Football League. And then you have Cameron Batson, you have Olamide Zaccheaus, who I think is probably, if not the hardest working guy on the Atlanta Falcons roster, he's up there. He has to be top 2 or top 3. He's done a tremendous job being able to show these guys how to practice, what to expect every day, and how to go about your business. So he's been the ultimate pro. And then you have other guys here, Hodge, we call him Red. Hodge is a guy that is doing very, very well as well. He's played, I think he played in Detroit last, if I'm not mistaken. But the room is full of competition, and you want that friendly competition because, listen, competition can only do 2 things. It can up your play or you can fold. And which end of the spectrum do you want to go? But I think the most impressive thing out of this group is that you have so many intelligent football players, guys that can attain information and go out there, especially with these new things you're putting in, go out there and run it on the field and not have any mental errors. So that's one of the things that I've been so excited about, is that these guys are very, very intelligent, and they can't wait to get out there and make plays. And they're going hard. When I mean they're going hard, man, they're going hard. And they're going to provide some stuff for these quarterbacks to be able to throw the ball to.
Love it.
Yes, indeed. Well, Harry, man, we definitely want to say thank you for joining us, man, and kicking it with us for a few minutes. Like I said, this will not
No.
be the last time you come on this show, man. And like I said, man, many blessings to you, my brother, on the internship, and congratulations again, man, for ESPN, dude, just doing your thing, dog. Hey, man. Like I look at you like a brother, my man. I'm rooting for you right here on the sidelines, my dog. And when we'll see you again. And that's Harry Douglas, former Atlanta Falcon wide receiver, former Tennessee Titan, ESPN employee. We wanted to say thank y'all for joining us real quick, but don't go anywhere. For the Culture is next. We'll be right back, right here on ATL Day Ones with part of Locked On Sports Atlanta.